All right, back another week of the Ask Matty Show. Matty, how are you feeling today, man?
Hey, I'm doing excellent. I'm always ready to pump up with a new week here at the Ask Matty Show, one of the best things at the start of my week, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about your questions you have for me.
Content today, team, API3, Casper, a whole load of other stuff we got planned for you guys today from your questions that you guys leave on our videos. We're going to tackle those today. But before we get into the content here, become a CryptoCharged member. Click the link in the pinned comment down below. We got a code going right now, YouTube. Matty, what does the code do for our people here?
You get half off anything you want. So monthly, quarterly, or yearly, you save more money as you move up in the bigger commitments. But you do get 50% off any of those memberships. Comes out to almost $40 a month for the annual. It goes up to $50 for the monthly. So you do save just about $9-10 a month if you decide to go with that annual option.
Got it. And if you don't have any dollars, just subscribe here. We'll be here every single week, and we'll keep you up to date. But now let's get into the content. Matty, are you ready?
Let's do it, baby.
Will True 32576 says, do you ever manage people's money or trade on their behalf?
Absolutely not. And the reason is because I've done it in the past. I did it a very long time ago. First, when I was doing some foreign exchange stuff, and I had about 5 people that I was managing some accounts for, and I was able to set up some copy trading, so I was able to keep the accounts separate and let people see their progress and stuff. The problem is a lot of people think they want their money managed. They think that they're happy with the split and everything, and they say they want to be hands off, and that's the reason they want you to manage their money. Until you start managing their money, and that monthly and that quarterly updates that you said you were going to agree on, and don't worry about it till then. Start to turn into text messages once and twice a day asking about why we're losing this trade or why are we going to take profit on this trade. Too many retail investors with too small of accounts are hyper concerned about the everyday, ups and downs in a trading account. And the reality is a trading account does not have linear growth, right? Meaning that if you, let's say you start the month and you have a plus 4%, which is actually a really decent, monthly amount to make day trading, right? Like if you're able to put up even like a 10% month, that's enormous, right? And a lot of you guys think, well, it's not that much. Well, that's because your account isn't as big as you want it to be. So 10% doesn't sound like that's great, but you need to be hunting down small percentages regularly. But the reality is sometimes you'll also have weeks where you just have losing weeks, but that doesn't mean that you don't end up still plus 4, plus 6, or plus 10 for the month, which is really, really great. Again, if you make 20% for the whole year in the stock market, you have absolutely crushed it. So if you have compounding gains at 6 to 10% a month, over a 12-month period, that's really, really excellent. But the reality is just people are too emotional, and I just don't want to deal with managing people's everyday emotions for something that's supposed to be hands off. So maybe someday in the future, we'll do some sort of CryptoCharged hedge fund, but it'll be for accredited investors, $250K minimum, and we're not going to be doing, $500,000 accounts and then, answering questions every 3 minutes about what's happening with the market. But that's the main reason why people are just too emotional.
I'm sorry, I can't say your name, bro. What would be the accumulation zones for this year, 2024, on Casper? At what point would you stop accumulating? Good question, actually.
It is. So if you guys have been following along for a while, if you're a CryptoCharged member, you guys already know that the majority of my strategy in a bear market is DCA based. Now I do some limit based ordering, but the majority of that is going to be DCA based. It's very hands off, very autopilot. Obviously I'll adjust that DCA like I did on API3. When we saw that sub $1, I increased the total DCA by 25% to capitalize that, then backed off the DCA back down to the standard amount once we got back over $1, so as not to raise my average. But for Casper, that magic number for me is 5 cents. And I determine a lot of these numbers by major resistance levels. So let's say we've been in under a range for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and that level hasn't been broken. And I know that's a very important area of interest. I'm going to continue to accumulate under that price because I know once we break back over it, it'll most likely be tested as support, and they will go up and away from there. So for me, under 5 cents is still a DCA. Once we get over 5 cents, I will stop the DCA and it will be limit-based ordering only, meaning that I'll be looking for major areas of interest. Hey, we broke over this major resistance, we pull back into the support level. I'm going to add on a limit order at this level, but there will be no more DCA for me at that point. So you'll see my strategy shift from like a 70% DCA in the bear market to like a 30% DCA at most, depending on what's still, cooking under those accumulations, and like 70% limit-based ordering. So 5 cents though is kind of the magic number where I'm no more DCA on Casper.
One of my brother hit me up and he was like, hey, I have a limit order set on Casper for a large limit order, because I'm not DCing right now. I have a low cost basis. And he's like, it's at 52 cents right now. Should I just deploy? I'm like, dude, we're gonna hit it. Like, just chill out. Like, it doesn't need to happen today, bro.
Right.
That was good advice there, man.
Got to be patient.
Fast Crypto 2 says, can we get an update on API3 update?
I don't know. Can you? Oh, just kidding. I'm sorry. It's the teacher and me traumatized, or the child and me traumatized from my teachers. I know. Yes, we can absolutely do an API3 update. And I think that API3 is a great testament to just being patient and understanding that not everything gets a fundamental catalyst. Okay. I know that everyone wants to attach the outcome of price to like, hey, this is happening because this, and they're like digging as hard as they can to find confirmation bias of why price is doing what it's doing. Guys, nothing happened with API3. Absolutely nothing. But we got like a 2x pop overnight based on no fundamental news. Markets move all on their own. When you guys accept this fact, you're going to be so less upset, right? Like there's even some of you guys on Twitter that like I go back and forth with, and they're like, I'm holding Casper, but boy, I need you to keep me in this. I need you to tell me all the fundamental reasons why. I know why it's selling off. No, you don't. You don't, right? It really comes down to technicals. But let's take a look at this beautiful, beautiful chart here. And again, look at where we bounced off of here. This is something I've talked just probably way too much about in the CryptoCharged live show, is the 50-week moving average. Since October breakout, what I started to identify was that once assets test their 50-week, sometimes they have to stutter a bit and they'll get rejection from the 50-week. Once they get over the 50-week and they retested as support, we generally see a very large impulsive move from that 50-week moving average. The 50-week here is illustrated in that orange line. So you can see back here that we had strong support on January 7, a second bounce on January 9, a third one on January 10. And look at that, wicked back here on January 19, and then up and away. And then we can also see back here, we started using this as support in late November into early December. But previously than that, right, the 50-week moving average was a pretty big wet blanket, right? Unable to break above, unable to break above, unable to break above. And you finally flip it and you really get these big impulses in here, right? So what we ended up doing here, at least what most of my team ended up doing, especially those of us who are have been accumulating, right? Especially if you took my advice here and you saw this sub $1 and we were accumulating aggressively down in this area, and we got the receipts on CryptoCharged to back that up, that we were accumulating at a higher than average DCA interval here at these sub $1 prices. So we were able to lower average significantly. So when we got this pop up here to this over $3 mark, and we already had this, right? We had the fib range here for coming from 1071 down to the lows at 80 cents or so. We already knew the 236 was up here in the $3 region. We can also see that there's just a big cluster of activity all the way up towards 455. So I took 10% of my total API3 bag. I sold it right around $3.05. Obviously, I didn't catch the absolute top of the wick. But again, team, my average was right around $1 at the time, right? If I'm in at $1 and price spikes in a single day to $3, why am I going to be a greedy little goblin and not at least take a little bit of profit, right? So that's where we're at right now. I do have a limit at 175 to rebuy back in. That is the breakout zone. We can see that there's a big point of contention here. If we get a retest off that, I'll rebuy back into API3. And then I have another limit to sell another 10% of my bag up here at 453. Obviously, that limit will get a little bit bigger if I get a fill down here at 175, because that'll increase my overall API3 bag. But when we talk about rotations and trims, this is how you do it, right? And you have a lot more flexibility with how you want to play this when you were accumulating in the bear market and your cost basis and your average is very, very good and it's very, very low. So if you're new entering the market now, don't feel like you can't be involved. You do have to do more limit-based ordering than DCA, but also look at some of the opportunities that we were diligent on in the bear market and going, okay, in this next bear market, I'm going to be laser focused. I'm going to be investing as if the bull market starts tomorrow, right? And capitalizing these low prices so that when we get these big spikes, I have more opportunities and I don't have to be limited to just, oh, well, I have to sell here to get a 20 or 30% profit because my average is, $2.20, right? So that's where we're at right now. We're obviously going to be doing a lot more swing trading. API3 is one of the most volatile out of my entire altcoin bag. Very, very aggressive with those spikes, but when you get these opportunities, volatility is your best friend. So love to see it. Really, really proud of my team that's been accumulating. Some of them have actually sub $1 averages because they jumped in a little bit later. So really, really excited for those guys. But we have a lot more opportunity, and a lot of the other altcoins we have like Zcash and Casper that are still kind of waking up. Don't sleep on them, guys. They're still great prices right now. So if you're looking at the API3 pop and you're like, damn it, I missed the only opportunity. No, you didn't. We got lots of other alt picks that are still cooking up in here, and I'm very excited to see what they do over the coming months.
Sport Highlights 4624 has been spamming us on all platforms. Need a Casper wallet mobile review, please. Do you think Casper mobile wallet is safe? I have Casper on KuCoin. Well, hopefully you're not in America.
So I haven't actually even played at all with the mobile app yet because I use Ledger, right? Because I'm able to secure Ledger via the CSPR live pool, so I can stake directly there. I can also manage my Casper directly inside of Ledger Live now if I didn't want to do any staking. So for me, it doesn't make sense to have another wallet with another set of seed phrases, just one more thing to remember and one more wallet holding it. Now, in relation to safety, definitely leaps and bounds above KuCoin, right? Or any other exchange, because you're using a decentralized wallet, and that decentralized wallet is directly from the creators of the coin, right? So if you're not like, if you're one of those people who are like, I don't want to fork out the $80 right now for a ledger, but I also don't want to keep it on an exchange, right? The decentralized option directly from the provider of whoever created the token is always going to be exponentially better than just leaving it on exchange, right? And it's free. It's always free to download a wallet from that particular token creator. Obviously, always make sure it's from the legit site. There's plenty of lookalikes out there, even with Ledger, right? There's people who unfortunately have clicked on a spam Ledger link and downloaded it, and whoop, everything's gone, right? It's very, very sad. But go ahead and go for the app itself. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I can do a review on it after I spend a little bit of time on it, but I don't want to say, oh, it's this smooth and it's this easy to use when I haven't used it yet. But in relation to it being safe, yes, it is very much safe.
SoPro03, definitely always bringing a banger questions here. What is your plan with API3 staking? Are you going to unstake some during the summer and fall of 2024? Oh, geez, I just coughed so hard. Or most of it in 2025?
So the 20% that's in staking right now is not going anywhere. That's staying locked up until next cycle. And the reason for that is you have a fluctuating APY pool and the native pool, right, in the DAO. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's just 3 or 4%, but then also sometimes it's well over 20%, right? And you get that current market rate as it's being issued, right? So sometimes you're getting paid really, really heavy on API3. My long-term targets for API3 are kind of up in like that $200 region. Trading at $2.40 right now, right? So if I leave that staked up, considering it's my long-term bag anyway, right? It makes sense that I continue to just compound and earn those rewards as I'm not anticipating a $200 API3 this cycle, right? So if let's say another 4 years goes by and I'm compounding the API3, during that time, I'm going to have an exponentially larger reward to be able to disperse and distribute and earn a much better reward over long periods of time, right? So I'm not messing with that at all. The portions of my bag that I'm actively trading, it's either in cold storage or it's in on exchange ready with a specific limit. Right now, there's 10% of the bag waiting for a limit at $4.55, and I move them on in tranches, right? So I try not to leave big amounts on exchange, only amounts I intend to sell. I'll have some in my cold storage device, so it's still semi-liquid because there is a 7-day bonding and an unbonding period. So if you want to go to unbond today, you're gonna have to wait a whole 7 days, and there's no exception. There's no, hey, I'm really sorry, I didn't. No, nobody cares. It's a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. It's autonomous. There's no customer service. So 7 days in, 7 days out. That's the main reason why I don't mess with the staking in and out. It's also ETH based, so it's very expensive to stake and unstake. So I try not to mess with that too much. So really the staking for me is for my long-term play, and that's how I'm going to play it.
Great stuff, Matty. We have a last, couple minutes here. We finished a little early. I have to ask you just about this current moment. How important is it to, not even maybe buy crypto right now, but strategize on limit orders, when to be buying crypto and staking those cryptos? Like, how important is this current moment right now for people that want to get into crypto?
If I had to put this moment in time up against a previous moment in time that we've had in the market, I would say imagine Bitcoin rallying from its lows up into that local top in 2019, right before the COVID crash, right? I think that's probably where crypto's at right now. Now, I don't think we get like a black swan, almost touching the lows again. I don't think we have to sweep the lows again. I think the bottom is in for Bitcoin and 99% of alts out there that are legitimate. But when you look at that moment, right, and you look back at history, right, and you saw, there was like a little bit of excitement, even though there wasn't the majority of excitement. That's how I also know we're not like in the full bull market yet. Is like we haven't seen just the surge of my phone blowing up of everybody and their mom asking, what crypto to buy and, at what price. We're just not there yet, which is good for us long term as accumulators, right? But I do think we need to establish a higher low. That's very, very healthy, and that's very standard market behavior. So as we start to kind of descend in here, what you want to be doing is just staking out maybe identify 10 opportunities and identify the prices that you'd be highly interested in those projects at, right? And then maybe, as those prices approach, maybe only 4 or 5 of them present themselves to you. Capitalize on those, right? Don't feel like you need to get into all 10 opportunities. Identify a handful of opportunities and assets you like. Look at those prices and what you consider a good high or low, right? And then set some limits there. And that's going to be a great way to go about it. You can always build, you can always add, you can always look to, get involved in new projects. But now that you kind of see that we're potentially making a local top right now, you definitely want to create a plan to enter or add to the market, knowing that we're most likely going to be coming down for a higher low.
Great stuff, Matty. Team, if you're not a part of the CryptoCharged community, you need to be a part of it. I'm constantly leverage trading. The team is constantly getting in there. I know a lot of them day trade. That's not me. I'm just gonna swing trade, and I'm gonna look at what Matty's doing. I'm also like I have my own sessions with my big bro. We looking at charts, and this morning, man, like this whole like collapse. I had a bunch of positions that I was waiting to get filled and stuff, and I just canceled all of them. Like Bitcoin's crashing, like all these altcoins are gonna fly down. So maybe a short opportunity. I don't know. That's gonna be in my session later. I'm interested to hear what Matty has to say later on the live show. As it relates to that, because I want to be making money. That's something I always want to be looking for. Even if I'm not looking for a trade, Matty, I'm looking for a trade. You know what I mean? Like not maybe to
Right.
enter, but like looking at the technicals, looking what's out there. I feel like that's very important on a day-to-day basis. That's something I said at the beginning of the year I was going to do. I didn't know it was going to come on me. Pause. It was going to come on me this fast where I was going to be like every single day I'm like for 4 hours late at night. I'm like, super tired and stuff, trying to look for trades and stuff. And I think that's super beneficial. Matty, can last second here, what can someone get out of the community, things we're doing on the platform, maybe some skills they can grasp? What would people be getting out of our program that we have right now?
So you're going to get out of it what you put into it. I'll start with that.
Yep.
But in relation to education, we have the basic tutorials on our website. Even if you're looking to get involved in leverage trading, we have a risk management course. We cover, hey, here's what leverage is. Here's how to set up the trade. Here's how to use the position size calculator so that you're not blowing your account out every time, right? Here's how to actually set up and execute a trade, both long and short, right? And then we also have our live updates, right? 5 days a week. We're doing either a morning update where we do the technicals. We're doing a little bit of macro. We're doing a little bit of technical analysis. We're doing a little bit of news. Then we have that Discord community as that supplementary help. So hey, you've taken all this education in, you learned everything you could from our updates, right? But you need to ask a question, you need help, you want to see a trade idea update. We have our Discord community for that, and that's all included no matter what plan you pick, whether it's the $50 a month using code YouTube, or it's the $4.99 a year using code YouTube, which puts you at $41 a month or so, right? So I would say that there's probably nobody out there that's offering as much support and value as we are right now for this particular pricing. And I would like for you guys to at least take that 30-day free trial to tell us if we're doing something right, or if you don't really like our program and would like to see different, because I'm genuinely a person who cares about my business and what we provide. And your feedback is just as valuable to me, whether you can decide to become a paid member or not.
Love it, Matty. We had a lot of great topics to show. Team, if you got something valuable out of it, please leave a like and maybe a comment down below. I'm always taking your guys' comments, what you guys leave down there. There's a couple people that pop up regularly because they spam comments on our TikTok, on our YouTube, on our Twitter, and these are people that ask great questions and things that I think would help other people. So I constantly want to be bringing that stuff to you guys, and Matty does a fantastic job here. I mean, I don't go over the questions with Matty. Matty just lets it fly. He does very limited TA on here, but that's because he's saving the TA for the live show. So make sure you tap in with that. I know Matty's about to go on a TA rampage on that show. But that is all we have for today, team. We'll see you next week. Bye.